You have a meta gun, but you're still losing gunfights you know you should be winning. The reason might have nothing to do with your aim. You just have bad movement. And the first mistake that's keeping you a noob is drop shotting in close range. Now, this is when you drop to the ground while firing, either by holding your crouch button to go prone or by tapping the dedicated prone button if you have that setting enabled. I see this mistake every single day. You panic, you hit that button, and you've just made a deadly mistake. In a close range fight, drop shotting doesn't make you a smaller target. It just makes you a slower one. You lose all your mobility, and you actually give your enemy a bigger, non-moving hitbox to shoot at. You're making their job easier. So when should you use it? The only time to drop shot is at mid to long range. This is where you actually do shrink your hitbox, almost like you're behind a head glitch. If you do it far enough, you will appear as a tiny dot on the enemy screen. But remember, you still lose all mobility. Use it as a last resort, but never rely on it. Now, you might be thinking, what about against snipers at long range? That's a different problem with a very specific life-saving solution, and we'll cover that exact move later in this video. That was only mistake number 1. But here's the thing, fixing your drop shot is useless if you're still making the other 6. By the end of this masterclass, you'll have a clear, actionable plan for all 7. And the next mistake is one of the most critical because it's something you failed to fix before the match even started. You've been there, you rush into a fight, you try to slide, and you just crouch. You get stuck, you die, and you blame the game. This is not a bug. It's a setting you must fix. The setting is called sprint sensitivity. This slider determines how far you have to push your joystick forward to start sprinting. And in this game, you cannot slide unless you are sprinting first. But here's the important part that confuses 99% of players, and it's why you haven't fixed it. In your settings, you must have always sprint turned off. We want this off because it gives us the control to walk and sneak around the map. But, and this is the key, at least at the time of recording this video, the game locks the sensitivity slider when always sprint is off. So here's the exact 3-step process to fix it. Go to your basic settings and temporarily turn always sprint on. Now, the sprint sensitivity slider is unlocked. Set this to your preference. I have mine at 82, which is a great place to start. This is the most important step. Turn always sprint back off. You will now have your new sensitivity and the ability to walk. To find your perfect number, go to the training room. If you set it to 0, you'll have to jam the stick all the way forward to sprint. If you set it to 90, you might find yourself sprinting when you mean to walk. The goal is to find the perfect balance. You need the control to sneak in S&D, but the power to instantly sprint and slide when a gunfight starts. While you're there, turn on slide hint. This will change your crouch button to a slide icon the moment you start sprinting. It's the perfect visual cue to help you master this new timing. But fixing your settings is just the beginning. It's useless if you're still making one basic mistake every single time you enter a gunfight. Actually, there's one last thing outside the match we need to go over. We are going to fix your movement mechanics in a second, but all that precise movement, the perfect slide cancels, the perfect strafing, is completely wasted if a single lag spike erases it. You can have the perfect sensitivity, but if your connection stutters, you are just a free kill. You worked hard for this advantage. Don't let a bad connection steal it. That is why I use Exit Lag Mobile. It works by finding a more stable direct route for your connection, and with just one tap, it optimizes your signal and stops those random lag spikes that break your movement. It makes your connection over twice as stable, so your slides are responsive, your peaks are smooth, and your gunfights are actually fair. Exit Lag Mobile optimizes over 800 mobile games and apps, and if you're tired of lag stealing the advantage you've worked for, this is the absolute best time to fix it. Exit Lag Mobile's Black Friday campaign is live right now. Use my special link or scan the QR code on screen and enter the code Black Friday to get over 15% off subscription. You can still try it free for 3 days, but this Black Friday deal only runs until December 12th, so don't miss it. And a huge thank you to Exit Lag Mobile for sponsoring this masterclass. This fundamental mistake I promise to fix is the real reason you're always slow to get your gun up. The game has a penalty called sprint to ADS delay. It's the small amount of time it takes for your character to stop sprinting and actually raise their weapon to aim. This realism penalty is why you lose gunfights. Even when you see the enemy first, you hit the aim button, but your gun lags. You're firing before you're even fully aimed in. Pro players, on the other hand, have mastered how to cancel this delay instantly. Now, the noob way to cancel it is to simply let go of the joystick. This stops your sprint, which does cancel the delay, but it's slow. In a close range fight, that delay gets you killed. Here's the pro solution. You never let go of the joystick. The instant you want to aim, you pull your joystick sideways or backwards for just a microsecond. This immediately cancels your sprint animation and the aim penalty, allowing you to aim instantly, all while keeping your thumb on the stick, ready to move. The same logic applies to the sprint to fire delay. You cancel it by pulling the stick back or sideways. This is absolutely lethal for shotguns and SMGs in close range. There's one key difference you must remember. Sliding. Sliding will cancel your sprint to ADS delay. You can slide and aim instantly. Sliding will not cancel your sprint to fire delay. You will still feel a lag if you try to hip fire while sliding. Mastering this joystick flick is the first step to winning more gunfights. But now that you can aim instantly, you've created a new problem. You're now a perfectly still, easy to hit target. And that is mistake number 4, poor strafing timing. This is the exact reason why you aim first, but still lose. Here's the mistake. You enter a gunfight, you aim, and you either stop moving completely, or you make one of 2 deadly timing errors. Error number 1, the vibrator. This is when you try to strafe left, right so fast in the open that your character model barely moves. You think you're dodging bullets, but to the enemy, you are just vibrating inside their crosshair. Now, I need to make this clear. Do not confuse this with jiggle peeking. That fast, vibrating movement is incredibly useful if you are beside a wall or cover. It makes you hard to hit and lets you escape to safety. That is a pro move. Error number 2, the one-way street. This is when you commit to strafing in only one direction for too long. The enemy doesn't have to guess. They just track you, and your predictable movement does 90% of the work for them. Your goal is to make your movements wide enough to force the enemy to readjust their aim. You want to move just outside of their crosshair, forcing them to reflict, not just track. This change in direction is a pattern interrupt. It's new information for their brain to process, and that microsecond of confusion buys you the win. The pro rhythm is to strafe in one direction, then, just as you feel they're locking on, you sharply change to the other. That change is what breaks their aim. Of course, this is the easiest with guns that have fast strafe speeds. If you're trying this with a slower strafing gun, brother, you're not moving that much. Now you have the 2 pillars of a winning gunfight: instant aim and unpredictable movement. But what happens when you combine this new skill with the wrong kind of peek? You create a new movement mistake. You're still using your movement to lose the gunfight before it even starts. That trap is mistake number 6, drift sliding too much. This is the specific habit that separates the pro in training from the actual pro. You do it because you think it looks high skill, but really, you're just sliding for no reason. You've seen the other guides. You've heard the advice, just slide everywhere, trust me. This is a noob trap and it's terrible advice. I'm talking about that drift slide, where you swipe hard to the left or right, trying to do that Lightning McQueen move around the corner. You think it's supposed to make the enemy break their crosshair, letting you get free shots. But I don't know, maybe just aim and shoot? This flashy habit is killing your consistency. Sometimes, the best movement is less movement. You do not need to slide if you're in a situation where you already have the advantage. If you have the ADS speed advantage, just aim and shoot. If the enemy isn't even looking at you, just aim and shoot. If you have an SMG or shotgun that's lethal in hipfire, just hipfire and strafe. You are sacrificing accuracy for a move that doesn't actually help. Let's take a perfect example. Burst weapons like the CX-9 burst. It makes 0 sense to slide peek a corner while ADSing with a burst SMG. You need to land that full precise burst to get the kill. Sliding just adds chaos and makes you miss. The real pro play? You cancel your sprint to ADS, you plant your feet, and use the weapon's fast strafe speed to win the fight. You are more accurate, you are just as mobile, and you will actually hit your shots. But now that you've mastered discipline, let's talk about the one single non-negotiable time you must move or you will die. It's the move that will save your life against every single sniper. Running into a sniper is the single interaction that scares every player. Let's fix this real quick. Mistake number 7 is staying on the ground. Here's the rule. When you see a sniper, jump. This works because of how snipers are trained. A good sniper aims for the upper chest to guarantee a one-shot kill. When you jump, you are physically moving your one-shot hitbox out of their crosshair. Instead of hitting your chest, they hit your stomach or your legs. For 90% of the snipers in this game, unless they are using a heavy HDR or ZRG, that shot will not kill you. It will just be a hit marker. You force them to land a non-lethal shot, which gives you the split second you need to kill them while they are bolting their next round. This applies to two specific scenarios. The first scenario is you round a corner and you bump into a sniper. Don't strafe, jump immediately. The second scenario is you are challenging a sniper who is already hardscoping a lane. Use the late slide we just learned, but combine it instantly with a jump. But there's one major exception. If the sniper has the high ground in close range, do not jump. Because of the angle, jumping actually lifts your body into their shot. In that specific scenario, you do the opposite. You slide away or walk backward to force the leg shot. Now that your movement is fixed, you are instantly harder to kill, but movement is only half the equation. If you can't hit the target when you stop moving, then you have some work to do.